Penning. Hook. Shock factor. The tension in the courtroom is almost suffocating. News outlets from across the country have descended on this high-profile case, and a hush falls over the room as the defense attorney prepares to call their next witness. The audience leans in, hanging on every word. It's been days of grueling testimony, but today something unusual happens. A tiny, fragile voice rings out as the next witness is called to the stand. A little girl, no older than 8, barely tall enough to see over the edge of the wooden podium. She's holding a worn, small teddy bear tightly in her arms. As she makes her way to the witness box, the room falls deathly silent, eyes trained on her. She's trembling, but her grip on the teddy bear is unshakable. The judge, who has seen his fair share of emotional testimony, narrows his eyes, sensing something off. This child, with her wide eyes and fragile frame, doesn't seem like someone who should be involved in such a serious case. Yet, as the little girl is sworn in, she holds up her teddy bear to the court, as though seeking comfort. Then, a bizarre moment unfolds, an almost imperceptible hand gesture from the girl toward the far corner of the courtroom. The courtroom, already on edge, seems to freeze in place. Her hand shakes just a little, and then nothing. Or so it seems. But in that split second, the air shifts. Plot set up. The judge, a man known for his unflappable demeanor, suddenly pauses, his hand hesitating mid-motion as he reaches for his gavel. Something has happened. A shift in the room, like a ripple in the fabric of reality. All eyes now dart to the far corner, where a strange figure has emerged from the shadows. A bear. It's sitting so still, nearly invisible against the dark wall, and for a moment the courtroom thinks it's just a trick of the light. But then the bear's eyes glint, unnatural and eerie in the fluorescent lights of the courtroom. No one seems to recognize this bear, and yet it feels familiar. The little girl, still clutching the teddy bear, remains transfixed. It's as though she and the creature in the corner share an unspoken bond. Her eyes widen slightly. Could she be signaling to the bear? Or is it just an unsettling coincidence? The courtroom's murmurs grow louder, a mixture of confusion and unease. The defense attorney, usually composed, stammers as he looks from the girl to the bear. The prosecutor shifts uncomfortably, unsure of what to make of this bizarre spectacle. And then the unthinkable happens. Twist. Just as the room begins to buzz with whispers, the bear shifts slightly. A single movement, subtle, almost imperceptible, yet somehow deliberate. It's as though it is mirroring the little girl's emotions, reflecting her fear, her tension, and perhaps even a deeper connection that no one can understand. The creature's body language matches her own, an eerie synchronization that sends chills through everyone in the room. And then it does something even stranger. It stands. The judge, whose poise had never wavered in years of presiding over countless cases, slams his gavel with a force that shakes the room, his voice rising above the stunned silence. "Recess," he demands, his tone suddenly urgent. The courtroom is in chaos as whispers fill the air, but the judge's eyes remain fixed on the girl and the bear. His once calm demeanor is replaced by an expression of deep concern, his instinct telling him that something is profoundly wrong. Before anyone can react, the bear takes a step toward the girl, its gaze never leaving her. The connection between them seems undeniable, and yet the question lingers. What is the true nature of this bond? Rising tension. As the courtroom erupts in chaos, the judge quickly calls for a brief recess. Spectators buzz with confusion, some demanding answers, others merely muttering nervously. Rumors swirl about the strange bear that had appeared out of nowhere, and the child whose silent gesture seemed to command it. Outside the courtroom, the girl and her mysterious companion are swiftly escorted away by security, their faces hidden from the cameras and prying eyes. The girl walks calmly, her small steps making no sound on the marble floor. Her teddy bear is still clutched tightly in her arms, its worn fur contrasting with the tension in the air. Despite the chaos she caused, her expression is surprisingly serene. almost blank, but with a hint of sadness lingering in her eyes. She's unfazed by the pandemonium, as though she's seen much worse. The bear, for its part, moves quietly by her side, its presence a constant, unsettling shadow. Away from the media frenzy, in a private, secure room, the girl stands in front of a window, gazing out at the city beyond. The bear sits beside her, its large, silent form a comforting yet ominous presence. For a moment, there's a sense of stillness, a quiet before the storm. Unexpected twist. As the girl remains in her silent reverie, a series of flashbacks begin to flicker through her mind. The scene shifts to a dark, desolate forest, the wind howling through the trees. A young girl, no older than 5, stumbles through the underbrush, her face streaked with dirt and tears. In the distance, the faint outline of a bear emerges from the shadows. It's a creature unlike any other, massive, with a dark, glossy coat, its eyes gleaming with intelligence. This is not the bear from the courtroom, but it is something far more primal, ancient even. It follows her silently through the woods, always just a few steps behind, guarding her with a vigilance that goes beyond normal instinct. The bear had been abandoned at birth, left to survive alone in the wilderness, rejected by its own kind. It was only when it crossed paths with the girl that its true purpose became clear: to protect her, to keep her safe from the dangers that lurked beyond the forest's edge. As the years pass, the bond between the two deepens. They grow up together, both marked by pain and loss, finding solace in each other's presence. The bear watches over the girl, never letting anyone get too close. No one except the girl has ever seen its full power, its true form hidden beneath layers of secrecy. But there's something darker between them, a secret, a link that binds them together in a way that could shatter everything they fought to protect. The girl's origins, her connection to the bear, and the shadowy figures who have been watching them for years all seem tied to a conspiracy, one that involves far more than just the girl's safety. Building stakes. The courtroom reconvenes, and there is an unease in the air that no one can quite place. The judge, visibly shaken, takes his seat, his gaze lingering on the spot where the bear had once stood. His mind races as he tries to make sense of the strange events unfolding before him. The girl is called to testify once again, her small voice now commanding a strange silence. As she takes the stand, her eyes flicker towards the shadows as though seeking reassurance from an unseen presence. The bear, though nowhere to be seen, seems to be there still, its watchful gaze ever present, like a phantom hovering just out of reach. The girl begins speaking, but her words are cryptic, almost nonsensical. "The sun never sets where it matters," she says, her voice a soft, distant murmur. "The sky is always watching. They never stop looking." Her eyes are wide, almost glazed, as though she's not speaking to anyone in the room, but to something far beyond them. The words make no sense to the defense attorney, the prosecutor, or even the judge. But with every riddle, there's a shift in the room, an undercurrent of something dark stirring beneath the surface. Every gesture she makes, every subtle shift in her posture, sends waves of unease through the court. She's not just a girl caught in a tangled web of legal drama. She's a key to something much larger, something dangerous. And as her cryptic testimony unfolds, it becomes clear that those in power have more than just a passing interest in silencing her. The court begins to feel like a stage for something much darker, an intricate game of manipulation and conspiracy, with the girl and her bear caught in the middle. Those who have been watching them, pulling strings from the shadows, are moving closer, ready to do whatever it takes to prevent the truth from being revealed. The stakes are rising, and the girl's survival depends not just on her connection with the bear, but on a truth so explosive it could topple everything. The cave's secret. Inside the cave, the bear collapses, trembling and breathing heavily. Ethan quickly realizes the animal's injuries are not just physical, but also psychological. There's a sense of trauma that transcends the bear's pain. He sets up camp to tend to the creature, trying to understand what's happening. Ethan's dilemma. As Ethan cares for the bear, he begins to notice strange markings on its fur, almost like human-made symbols. He's confused but can't focus too much on it with the blizzard still raging outside. He's trapped with no way to contact help. Strange noises. That night, Ethan hears noises in the cave, scratching sounds, something large moving. He checks the perimeter, but nothing's there. Just the bear, whose eyes are wide open, scanning the dark. Ethan feels the growing sense of dread that there's something more to this situation. Unexpected twist. The bear suddenly starts to growl, warning Ethan to stay away from the back of the cave. As Ethan slowly approaches, the sound grows more frantic. He finally reaches the source, a strange, glowing object embedded in the cave wall. It pulses with a strange energy. Ethan is torn between investigating the object and protecting the bear. His decision will change everything. Cliffhanger. Ethan reaches out to touch the object, but as his fingers make contact, the ground shakes violently, and the bear screams in terror. The cave begins to collapse,